Okay, so ionic compounds are a metal and a nonmetal. All of the ones that we just looked at were ionic. This is ionic, this is ionic. This is the easiest case. This is when you have transition metals involved. Acids and bases is still kind of a ionic, special kind of ionic bond. And then, sorry, just acids, not bases too, but we're not going to do bases today. And then we've got this one, which we're going to leave for later. So let's look at when it's not ionic, it's called covalent. And covalent rules are as follows. First, it's two nonmetals, so it's a very small section of the periodic table, namely this section here, two nonmetals. And it really doesn't even include the metalloids here, so you're really just, and not the noble gases either, although they form some compounds, but really you're looking at like these 10-ish elements, so not very many. And when you put those together, they bond in a different way, which we'll learn about later. But for now, just for naming them, when you identify that it's two nonmetals and you want to name them, the first element still gets its name, the second element still gets an ID ending. That is the same as as ionic. But then what happens is you use prefixes. And a lot of these you've heard of before. For example, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, carbon tetrachloride. All of these things that have prefixes in them are fairly common chemicals. And you need the prefixes. So here we go. Prefixes on the right here. One is mono, two is di, three is tri, four is tetra, five is penta, six is hexa, seven is hepta, eight is octa, or just oct, nine is nona, and 10 is deca, and then deca. And 1/2, I don't know what this is for. I'm just going to write half here. I don't know what that's going on. 0.5. I'm going to write 0.5. I have no idea. Anyway, you're just going to use those 10, and for some reason, half is on there. So 10. The only trick or difference is that if the first one is by itself, it does not get the mono prefix. Otherwise, you use prefixes for everything. So, for example, this S would not get a mono prefix because it's by itself and it's the first element, but this O would get a mono prefix because it's not the first element. Was that confusing? I think it was. So, name. There are two nitrogens, so you use the prefix di. You only use prefixes 2 through 10 on the first one. When it's by itself, you just leave it by itself. And then the second one is di, this is nitrogen. Notice you keep it the same like the first element said, or first rule, first step. And then how many oxygens are there? 1. And for the second one, you use all the prefixes. So 1 through 10, so it's called monoxide. It would not be incorrect if you wrote like mono-oxide, but you don't have to. You can drop this last, what's that thing called? Vowel? Yeah, as necessary. Okay? So, sulfur by itself as the first element, you don't use mono, you use called sulfur. And then 3 oxygens would be how many? Trioxide, and you do give it the ID ending for the second one. Yep, these will always end in IDE, and there's no real exceptions, because again, we're only dealing with a very small case here, this case right there. So these are your favorite ones. Try the right-hand side here to name those. Easy, right? Maybe I should have done this one first. Again, when the first one's by itself, do not give it the mono prefix. Otherwise, use all the prefixes for all of them. So this is bromine. And then this is 3-fluorine, so trifluoride. We're following these rules here. CS2, carbon, 2 sulfurs, disulfide. Yes, yes, hands up, you got them right. That's easy, okay? The best case out of everything that we have and all the rules for all the naming is this. Covalent compounds, when you're going from the name to the formula. In this case, you get to shut your brain off, which is easier for some than others. It's a joke because it's already shut off. You get it? And then, not you, I was just making a joke about, okay, but you didn't like the joke? Or so, do what they say. Don't crisscross, don't get fancy. Literally, if it says carbon dioxide, and since they're both nonmetals, you go, oh, 1 carbon, 2 oxygens, done. You don't think about it that much. Or if it says diphosphorus pentasulfide, you're going to go with what? How many phosphoruses? 2. How many sulfurs? S5, done. That's the best case scenario for any of the naming, is when the prefixes are involved. Where are you going? Why would you pack